Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to the Rebel Pastor YouTube channel. Pastor Sky over here, all the way in Malaysia, brand new studio. Yes, you've heard it a million times already, but we're already up to episode 16. Yes, I'm really happy and excited, which means we're closing in on 4 months of episodes. Those of you guys who don't know, I used to be called Espresso with Sky, but now we rebranded into the Rebel Pastor, and I think this is much better, much better branding too. And I hope you guys have been enjoying this stuff. For those of you guys in the chat room right now, in the live chat room, go ahead, click that like button so that we can kind of get more awareness, let the algorithm take this video out to other people in the world. If you have not subscribed yet, but you like this content, just go ahead, click that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell because this will help the algorithm also. Now, I would say the most important part of the algorithm right now is sharing this link. If you have any friends, any family, anyone out there, go ahead, share this link. Just tell them that there's this cool, crazy rebel pastor out there that's talking about the Bible and life. And if you have anyone who really wants to look at it, go ahead and give it to them too. We are 4 months in with only, well, it's like July, right? It would be July, which means there's 6 months left in 2024. So if there's 6 months left, we have 6 months to hit 10K subscribers, and that is our goal. If you want to help out, make sure you pray for us, make sure you share, make sure you like, do all the things that you can, look at all the content too. Very grateful and thankful for all the people out there who have been supporting us since the very beginning, okay? So it's been a wonderful week, a lot of blessings happening from God too, and I think, no matter what we do, there's always going to be two different types of people that are listening, right? Some of you are going to be in a season of blessing, and some of you will be in a season of trying, right? And like trying or difficult times. But, one of the things that I really enjoy about having a community together is that in the community, we're not all going to be going through the same ups and downs all the time. But through this community, just reach out in the comment section, reach out in the live chat. If there's something going on, if you need someone to pray for it, I'll be going over the chat rooms anyways. So I'll take a look at the different types of prayer requests that you have also. I'll definitely pray for you guys. And if you're in the chat room right now or in the comment section, you see someone who really needs your prayer, do a little prayer for them and just let them know that you're praying for them also. And this is one way that we can really help and build an awesome community here too. Yeah, I think it would be great to even, later on in the future have like an entire episode just on praying for people. I think that would be great also. Okay, so I watched a movie the other day. And this is a Thai movie, so it's not even in Chinese, it's not even in English. I'm reading subtitles, but it was like it's a very famous movie because everyone cries in this movie, and the movie is called "How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies," and man, it's so inspiring and moving. I definitely had the man tears. Now, what does that mean? That I'm not sure about the guys out there. You guys can write the live chat room right now. Do you guys like really openly cry in movies? When I was in the movie theater, the girls were crying. You can hear all the like you can hear all of that going on, and they're wiping their nose and stuff. But all the guys, it's funny. They are silent, like absolute silence. You don't even hear them breathe. And part of it is because that's what I was doing. When I start to cry, I don't want to show, and I'm not going to cry in a movie theater. So here it is, like such inspiring and moving scenes, and tears are building up in my eyes. And the one thing I don't want is for the tear to drop. So the first thing I do is I look up. I'm looking up, and I'm praying that all these tears will dry up so none of the tears fall down. So here I am, and I'm looking around, and I see other guys are all like this, right? And they're all holding themselves up, and they're holding their breath. They're like, I'm like holding my breath really hard. So, when you have that, you don't want that. So I don't even want to show this. I'm holding my breath so hard at that moment. And, no sound, not even breathing. And I just sat there letting the tears dry up in my eyes. And I don't know. Do you guys do the same thing? Guys out there, guys, do you do the same thing when it comes to, crying in a movie theater? Because that's what I was sitting there, I was ready to cry, but I just really bottled it up, and I came out a man. At the end of it, I was still a man. Which means those that cried out loud were not men after that movie. I'm just kidding. But yeah, you guys got to watch that movie. It's a Thai movie. I'm not sure if one day it'll come out on Netflix or something like that, but it really talks of, it made me think about my mom a lot, because the grandma in the movie, she was 78 years old, and my mom is like 72 right now. So I'm just like, whoa, that's like so close to my mom's age. And it just had to do with the dynamics of the grandmother with their own kids and with the grandchildren. And I would say the sad part, the part that I cried in, was not when the grandma actually died. The sad part was actually seeing the dynamics of how the children were treating their mother, and it wasn't like they're treating the grandmother really bad. It's just there's the reality of life, and just seeing that grandmother waiting every weekend just to see their family, if they come, if they don't come, and yeah, I'll tell you this, even after the movie, like even the next day, just thinking about parts of the movie, I would feel choked up, like, whoa, because I'm thinking about my mom. Yeah, it's really, really intense. Like, I would suggest you watch it. Guys, watch it alone. For me, I wish that the movie theater was empty. I'd be fine, right? I cry. I'd openly cry. I'd do the ugly face cry, like, right? But yeah, it's a very touching movie. It's really kind of the reality of what life is like right now, how busy life actually gets, and we don't realize how important our families really are too. So if you guys ever get a chance, watch the movie, but just be prepared. You're gonna need some tissue for this one. You really, really are. I prepared tissue, right? And I never took it out once, because kept my tears inside my eyes until they all dried up. But yeah, that's a movie recommendation for you guys. It's really heartwarming and touching and inspiring too. Today I'm thinking about doing something a little bit differently. There is a main topic I want to talk about. It's about one of the biggest challenges we have when it comes to people of faith. And one of the greatest challenges we do face is actually outreach, evangelism, spreading the seeds of the gospel. It's not an easy thing, but it's something where it's hard for us to kind of just reach out to people, share the gospel with them. And usually the people we share with is like people we know, our friends, our family, these types of things. But there's only such a limited number of these people in our circle of friends, right? Or circle of people that we connect with. But the harder part is actually reaching out beyond that comfortable circle, talking to people about Christ, or helping people to understand something more deeply that will bring them to Christ. And, myself, I was a missionary for about a little bit over 10 years, and I traveled to over 20 countries. And that was one of the main things that I actually did. And I would definitely tell you, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. It's scary sometimes to talk to people. Actually, when I went to the UK, I was in London, planting a new church. And I would go everywhere, from the parks into libraries, bus stops, just talking to people all the time. And the very, very first time that I talked, I just kind of like did outreach. I was in a park, and these young kids were there. They were all drinking and stuff. And I thought to myself, I was like, oh, would they accept the gospel? I'm not sure. And when I came up to them, I started talking to them, and I said, oh, I'm here from a local church and this and that. And then they said, oh, and I was like, oh, I was a pastor. And when I told them I was a pastor, they, like 3 or 4 of them, started to laugh, right? It wasn't an easy thing. And I would say that if you remember the verse from John chapter 15, verse 18, right? And in John chapter 15, verse 18, it says, if the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. That's one of the ways we know that we're not part of this world. When we come to Christ, we're in a world of Christ. We're accepted by those who believe in Christ. But when it compares to the world, what happens is, they don't like Christ. They don't want to be tied down. They don't want the rules. So this is something that is expected. And it's hard. That's one of the things that people dislike the most is being rejected. And, outreach is such a big thing that I've been doing for decades in my life, probably for about 20 some odd years. I was always going to universities and schools and high schools, speaking on campuses. I did a ton of these different things. And the outreach part is not that easy. So I did missions work around the world for over a decade. And I would say it was really difficult, but also exciting at the same time. I would say the most exciting part is when someone actually says yes. When someone actually says, okay, I'll do the vibe, right? And you're like, oh, it's such a crazy feeling. Because think about, you talk to 100 people and they're all like, no, 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 no. And it kind of beats you down where eventually you're like, you want to study, you're not confident. You want to study the Bible? And when someone says yes, you'll be like, it's like the most exciting thing that's ever happened in your life. Like, oh my goodness, this person wants to learn the Bible. And, I went through a lot of those different things. And this is why a lot of people do ask me that question is, how do you evangelize people? How do I bring them to Christ? And there's many, many different ways you can do it. For instance, if you're on campus, or if, let's just say you're inside of a church. When you're inside of a church, people go in with the expectation that they're in a church, in a spiritual setting, right? But when I'm out on campus and I'm talking to people, sometimes you give a direct testimony, and sometimes you need to prepare people's hearts well to receive something even more deeply. And a lot of times I would be asked by either Christian organizations or I'd be doing a motivational lecture for a success group or a business, a business organization, and it's much different, right? And you can't just go Jesus, 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 Jesus. You have to speak in that person's language and the things that they're thinking about in their life too. So I wanted to share with you guys a talk that I do share when I'm on campus. And this is not what I would say if I'm directly inside of a church. This is something that I would say that would be kind of a preparation to get their hearts ready so that I can speak to them about the gospel right after. Okay? So, this is something that I do think that if you do have people who you think are somewhat ready to hear the words of God or to come to Christ, this is one of the things that you can actually send to those people so that when they listen to it, they'll be like, oh, okay, this makes a lot more sense to me, or this is something that I really want to listen to. Okay? So, let me give you the background of where I actually made this talk, okay? And how did I make this? Well, way back in the 2010, 11, what happened was I was living in Korea, and I was there for about 4 or 5 years, and I was not a leader in the church, but I was someone who was helping a couple of churches there. And what they asked me was, they wanted me to do some type of lecture training or Bible study leader training to help people who are training to become cell group leaders, Bible study leaders inside their churches. So I was doing this new training for new teachers. And what happens during these training sessions, there's this one section that I do where I'm training people how to hear God, right? How to hear God through their life experiences. Because it's a lot of times in life where we think to ourselves that to hear God or to listen to God right now, it has to be through prayer and you hear a voice. Or you pray or you're sleeping, you have this amazing dream. Oh, God spoke to me. But we have to realize God is speaking to us all the time. He's always speaking to us. And one of the ways he speaks to us in the deepest way is when we go through certain experiences in life and God will teach us through that experience, right? So people will go through amazing miracles, amazing experiences, these miracles, all these amazing, oh, this is amazing. And you can hear God speaking to you through that. But also, we have to realize through those difficulties, there's going to be some difficulties and some things that happen in life, and you realize, this is what God is saying to me here. So this one person, I was doing this training session, and let me share with you how this talk actually came about. And this one person, I was asking them how they came to Christ, and they gave me this entire story. And they told me that they were just graduating from high school. They took their big examination to get into university. Now, in Korea, the one place everybody wants to go to university is in Seoul, the main city. Everyone wants to go there. So all the people on the outskirts, they're all working hard just to get into any school inside Seoul. And she was telling me, man, I worked so hard. I did all my school, this and that. And I applied to so many schools inside Seoul. When she got the results back, 0 schools accepted her. She was destroyed. She couldn't believe she couldn't get into one single school, that she started to doubt herself. Now, the only choice she had was the school in her area. So you can't imagine how dejected she was. My life is my life is terrible. Oh, what kind of a person am I? And eventually, she just had to go to the school inside of her area. Right? Basically, there's no choice. So here she is, so bummed out by the situation. But when she went to this school, what happened? This is where she met Christ. This is where she was evangelized. This is where she met Christ. And not only did she meet Christ, she brought 4 of her friends to church too, and all 4 of them met Christ too. And through that experience, what happens? She went to Bible college. And not only did she go to Bible college, she graduated and she was ordained as a pastor. It all happened from the one thing it's the one place she didn't even want to be. She couldn't even get into any of the schools in Seoul. And she was talking to me so happy and so overjoyed that she didn't go to school in Seoul, or else this couldn't happen to her in her life. Now, when I heard her story, it was almost instantly I heard God speak to my heart. And through this one story, I was able to come up with an entire talk based on this one thing that she shared with me, right? So I'm going to get into this talk for you guys. And like I said, this is a talks that I have when it's a non-Christian organization. And it's something that I do. I would say this is what you call a preparation message, preparing people's hearts to receive the gospel, okay? So this is a talk that I would use. So what do you think is the one thing that all people really want in life? And this is when people start asking, give me answers. Oh, they want a better job. Oh, they want a good family. They want this and they want that, right? Money, cars, family, friends, finding a good wife or husband. For me, it's just getting a nice cup of coffee, whatever it is, right? In the end, but if you think about it, why do people make all these choices? Even if you take the simplest choice of why do you order a latte when you go to the cafe? In the end, everything boils down to one thing. This is the one thing that everyone wants. And what is it? People just want to be happy. All of our choices are leading towards that one thing, which is happiness itself. Right? Why do we choose that person to marry? Why do we choose this job? Why do we want to have this car? Why do I want to eat this type of food? Why? It all has to do with, I think it's going to make me happy. I want to be happy. And this is what all people in the world really want. Now, here's the hard part, okay? So let me give you an example. This is an example. Let's say there's 2 people, person A and person B. And both of these people go to the same university. And let's just give me a university out there. Let's say Harvard. Everybody knows Harvard, okay? Everyone wants to go to Harvard. Not everyone, but the people who can make it, they want to go to Harvard, okay? So person A, person B both go to Harvard. Now, person A always wanted to go to Harvard their whole life. Their whole family went there, their brother went there, and it's such a big thing for their family, and they got in. Cool, that's person A. Person B, they actually wanted to go to MIT. They're like, MIT is the school I want. My grandparents, my great-grandparents, all my family, they all go to, MIT is the place. Oh. but they don't get in. So their second choice was Harvard. Now here's my question to you. Who's going to be happier? A or B? And of course, what does everyone say? A, right? Oh, of course A's happier. Why? Because they wanted to go and they got in. And the answer is wrong. It's not A. And then everyone's gonna be like, wait. What do you mean it's not A? Is it B? And I'd be like, nope, it's not B either. It's like, what? Is this a trick question? And the answer is, it's kind of a trick question, but you can get the answer to know who will be happier with just asking each person, A and B, one question. So if I go to person A and I say one question, hey, if you go to Harvard, can you guarantee me 100% that you're going to be happy at Harvard? What are they going to say? No, I can't guarantee it. So I go to the second person, B. They wanted to go to MIT, but instead went to Harvard. My question, can you guarantee me 100% that you will be unhappy at Harvard? And the answer is what? No. There's no guarantee, which means what? It means both A and B are in the same situation. They only think they'll be happy or unhappy, but they don't really know. So if you really think about this, and this is something that throws so many people off, and it makes you think very deeply about your life too. Because think about this. How many times did you think you'd be happy, but it didn't work out? Think about high school, guys. In high school, wasn't there that girl? You're like, man, if that girl was my girlfriend, I'd be so happy. Like, it's either you or you see your friends in that situation, but what happens 3 days later? You break up. But before the time, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so happy. I'm gonna be so happy. You finally become boyfriend, girlfriend, you break up 3 days later. Oh, this is the job for me. Oh, I've always wanted to be a doctor. I've always wanted this. I've always wanted that. And when you finally start going to medical school, you realize, oh no, I don't think this is the right thing for me. We don't know. We actually don't know what makes us happy. And if we think about it even more deeply, what is happiness? Like, what is like real happiness? True happiness? What is it? And honestly, I don't think there's a real definition for it. But I would say I would give 3 guidelines to what real, true happiness is. Number 1 is this. Happiness is not something, like real happiness is not attained by getting something. It's not an external thing. You don't get happiness, oh, I'm so happy, because you got a new car, because you got new clothes, because you got a new house, because you got a new whatever, right? No, those things don't determine whether you are really, truly happy. First guideline, it's not by what you have. Second thing, real happiness is not determined by your environment. What, are you only happy when it's sunny? Are you only happy when everything looks a certain way? No, like even the environment shouldn't be determining how happy you are. Why? Because even your environment can change. And I would say the most important guideline or rule for real, true happiness is it's not temporary. It's not temporary. Real, true happiness is eternal. It lasts your entire lifetime and beyond. And I would say those would be the 3 main rules of what real or true happiness is. So think about this. It's not about what you have. It's not about your environment. It's something that lasts longer than just a certain moment. So what do you have to do now? Think about this. Take everything away from yourself right now. All your clothes, all your cars, all your houses, everything, because these are things that cannot give you real happiness. So if you strip away all these things away from you, what's left? It's just you. You are the only thing that's left. in the end, where does real or true happiness start? Right? It has to start with you yourself first. It's about you, which means we need to get deeper into who you are or who we are as human beings, right? So as a human being, what is something that all human beings are striving for? What's something that we really want? What's a huge motivator for us to really, really do better things, to do harder things, to even suffer? And that's meaning. The one thing that everyone wants is meaning. That's something that we want so badly. We want something that's meaningful. We want something that has purpose. We want to have a reason to do something. Because one of the things that meaning, purpose, and reason gives us is when the meaning is really high, when the purpose is great, when the reason is worth it, it gives value. So what does that mean? Well, let me give you an example. Let's say you have I just talked about the movie about the grandmother dying, how to make millions before grandma dies, right? So let's say you have a grandmother you really, really love. You love her so much. She's taken care of you. She's done everything for you, right? And she's not rich. And what she says is right before she dies, she's like, "Oh, you're such a great son or great grandson. You've always loved me and I love you so much. And I wanted to leave you a gift before I died." And you're like, okay. And she opens her hand and there's a pen. Not even expensive pen. Probably like, what, $2, $3. And she's like, "Oh, here's for you." And then she dies. And she leaves that pen for you. Okay? So in that situation, what happens is let's just say it's $2. You have a $2 pen. But is the value only $2? Right, let me give you a second example. In the second example, let's just say that someone found a pen while they're cleaning their house, okay? So someone just finds a pen, they're like, "Oh, look, I found a pen in the couch," right? And then they see you and they say, "Hey, guess what, buddy? I found this pen in my couch when I was cleaning it. It's for you." And you'd be like, "Oh, thanks, bro." And it's the same $2 pen. What would you do if you lost that pen? That $2 pen that your friend gave to you, the one that he found in the couch. Would you look for it all day? No, you'd be like, I lost it. It's somewhere in my room, a house. Yeah, I'll find it another time. But what if you lose the pen that your grandmother gave you before she died? Even though it's the same $2 pen. How long would you look for it? Well, you would look for it until you found it. Why? Because the meaning is what matters to us. It means something. And because of that meaning, what happens to that pen? That $2 pen is no longer a $2 pen. It is worth everything. The value skyrockets up. Because that's what meaning means to us as human beings. Now, what is the one thing that people should be looking for then? And what's the one thing that people are looking for in their lives right now? They're looking for the reason, the purpose, the meaning of what? Themselves. Life itself. What is the value of your life? Well, you don't know the value until you know what the meaning of your life is. You don't know the purpose of your life. You don't know the reason why you live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you that there are, when we take it like at meaning, purpose, and reason, let me tell you that there's two different types of purposes in life, okay? Because this is the crazy part about us. We don't even know why we're living, right? Most people are out there, they're just living their lives, but they don't know even why they're doing it. That's kind of a crazy thing, don't you? Don't you think that's kind of crazy? You don't even know why you're living? Because what would you think if you went to your wife or you went to your husband and you look at them and you say, "Hey, why did you marry me?" And they look at you like this. What would you do? You'd be like, "What? You don't even know why you married me." Then there's no meaning in the marriage. But when you ask people the same question, what's the meaning of life? What do you think they're going to say? But it's that important because it gives value. So in life, there are two purposes, two different types of purpose, okay? I would call them just simply the big purpose and the small purpose. Now, what's the difference between the two? Small purpose, this is what we go through in life. Small purpose is your job. Small purpose is, your friends that you choose, the school that you go to. These are small purposes, these decisions that you're making inside of your life, right? They're small. It's not going to determine the rest of your life. However, what is a big purpose? Big purpose is your entire life and beyond. It's the big questions. Why are you living? Why are you here? What is your purpose in life? How are you supposed to live your life the best way? But most people in this world will only know their small purpose. The small stuff. What they want to do. Who they want to marry. What kind of job you want. How much money you want to make. What car you want to buy. What house do you want to be living in? But let me share with you how important the big purpose is. What's the big purpose? So let me tell you the difference between big purpose, knowing big purpose, and not knowing big purpose. Let's say we're all in a war, okay? So I'm in Malaysia right now. So I'm in Malaysia and probably the country that they fight with the most, not literally fighting in war, but it's Singapore. Singapore and Malaysia always fight with each other. Who makes the best nasi lemak, or who makes the best, chili crab, or whatever. There's all these things that the Malaysians and Singaporeans fight over, right? America and Canada. There's no contest. Canada's better. But let's say there's a war. You're in war, in battle, guns like pew, 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 flying, wow, you hear all these bullets, bombs are going off, you can die any moment. Question, do you care how you look? Do you care if there's dirt on your face? Do you care if there's a hole in your uniform? Do you care if you don't look pretty? And the answer is no. You just care about the big purpose. What's the big purpose? It's living. Everything else doesn't matter. What if you're naked on the street? You're naked on the street, it's wintertime and snowing, and someone says, hey, here's some clothes you can have. Would you look at them and say, is it Nike? Because I only accept Nike. No. You'd be like, thank you so much. Why? Big purpose. You don't care about the small things. That's how important big purpose or knowing big purpose is. But let's flip it. Let's pretend you don't know big purpose. What's life like? Well, let's pretend you go shopping. And when you go shopping, let's say you've already got everything that you need, right? You've gotten all the clothes that you want, all the things that you need. It's all there. And your friend comes to you and says, hey, this would look good on you. Try this. I think you should buy this. When you don't have the big purpose, you don't really even need clothes. What do you start doing? You start nitpicking the small things. Yeah, it's a little bit too short. The stripes are too thick. The buttons are too small. You know what? That color's a little bit off. You know what? The price is a little bit too expensive. I don't like this material. That's what happens when you don't have big purpose. You begin to pick apart the small purposes in life. And that's what we see happening in this world today. When you don't have big purpose, the small things become huge, and it drives you into meaninglessness. It drives you into emptiness. The thing that people have to find first is big purpose. That's the thing you have to find before the small. The small, you're going to make those decisions in life anyways, but you got to find the big one. Why are you here? Why are you living? What's the purpose in life? But the biggest issue is people don't know where to look. One of the best examples I've heard about how to find your purpose, someone said to me, hey, imagine no one knew what a phone was, right? So here I have a phone here, okay? And if someone gives you this phone and it's the first time you've ever seen it, how would you know what it is? Well, you could guess and try to figure it out yourself, but you might think it's a doorstop. You might think it's, a remote control. You might think it's a weapon to throw at someone. How would you know what the real purpose of that phone would be? And the answer is, ask the person who made it. Only the person that made it will know exactly what the purpose is. And only when you use it for its purpose will you genuinely be happy with that product. The person who created it is the one that knows exactly why it was made, or it knows the purpose. And what I'll tell everyone here is there is a reason why 90% of the world identifies with a religion. They're searching for something bigger. Because if there is a creator, let's say if, right? I'm talking to a crowd that doesn't know God or doesn't think about religion or whatever. If there actually is a creator, if there is, then he created you for a reason with a purpose. And when you find him, you will find your purpose. When you find him, the creator, then you'll know the very reason you were made. And for me, this is why I study the Bible. And this is why I connect to the Creator. As the Bible says in Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Why? He already knew what the purpose of all human beings were, even before we were created. If you want to know your big purpose, this is something that I hope that many of you will be able to search for also. Find a local church, find a friend that goes to church, ask them, not for anyone else, but only for you. So many people go to church for business. People go to church to find a girlfriend. People go to church to find a husband or wife, whatever it is. No. In the end, it's just between you and the Creator. That's all it is. And I would give this talk. And from this point on, what I would do is, this is where I will meet and greet with students and go even deeper into the gospel for the people that are really interested in stuff. So, this is, think about this. This is one story that someone told me in Korea. And from this entire talk came about from it. And this is one of the talks that I do use when I go to campuses for people who are, I am also like a motivational speaker and such, and I will always implement God into it. But this is what I'll do to prepare people's hearts so that when the time comes, the people who are ready will come to me and we'll have even deeper talks, right? It's kind of more of before you sow the seeds, you're kind of just, what's that word? You're tilling the soil. You're getting the soil ready so the seeds of the gospel can go into their hearts. And I would say, not everyone is going to accept the gospel as is, and once you say it, they're all going to come to Christ. Not everyone's ready for that. Some people, they need something before that. They need their hearts to be tilled a little bit longer, take out the rocks or the weeds and stuff first before the seeds of the gospel can be put in too. So, there was many different ways that when I was a missionary, I'd be doing these types of talks, and I'd be doing, of course, testimonies and stories of how God has changed my life and stuff like that too. So that's what I would do, right? So if you guys have any questions or anything else like this, I hope you guys will really be able to, leave in the comments below. If this is something you think that one of your friends, people who don't know Christ, might benefit from first, then this is something I do, share it with them, see what they think about this too, see if there's something that can till the soil of their hearts before that gospel is actually planted in their heart also, okay? So that's kind of what I wanted to do today. I hope it's something that you guys have enjoyed, learned something new from, and also made you think a lot more deeply about your life also, okay? So this is it. This is the end of today's episode 16. Episode 16. I get confused, guys, but this is episode 16. Everyone have an amazing and awesome week. I hope you guys will get blessed. And even if you don't, be thankful to God in all that you do. And we'll see you guys again next week. All right, everyone, enjoy. This is the Rebel Pastor YouTube channel. This is Pastor Sky signing out. Everyone, take care and goodbye.